The town of Tzfat in the Galilee has been a Jewish Kabbalah center for over 500 years. The Holy Ari, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, who lived in Tzfat, was one of the greatest practitioners and expounders of Kabbalah. According to Kabbalah, every person can liberate and raise up the sparks associated with the root of her or his soul, and as each of us redeems those sparks, they are drawn to a great light that expresses our unity and our partnership in Tikkun Olam, the healing of the world.
This has been an amazing, liberating gift.
I feel like my life is so much fuller when I live with that, its integrity.
I'm really amazed at at what people gain from IFS.
Is such support and love and caring and lack of judgments and lack of pointing fingers.
People who would see me when I would come on my visits to the States would say they noticed a difference each time, and I credit the difference in the work that I did in the IFS work.
In 2009, I first met IFS, Internal Family Systems, in a workshop at Esalen with Richard Schwartz, who founded this groundbreaking approach for developing love for ourselves and each other by getting to know and befriending all of our parts. 5 years ago, I began teaching a unique blend of IFS and expressive arts in the town of Tzfat, and immediately sensed there was something special about the people I met and about the town itself. For years they have been soaking this healing combination and incorporating it into their lives.
When you told me about your group, and when you told me about that your group are Orthodox Jewish women, I got excited because I was curious to see how IFS can really affect these women.
I'm I've been in Israel for about 36 years. What brought me to Tzfat, I think it was God brought me to Tzfat, you know.
It said it infected me when I was a child.
I guess it's, you know, you're really contacting your subconscious. So that things come out that can be incredibly revealing that you might not otherwise meet.
Is this the shame speaking?
Yeah.
Ashamed that, you know, this, I guess that I sort of had faded into the wall, which was what I'm a natural crier, and I've been embarrassed about it my whole life, but here I could actually burst into tears and people would just hand me tissues. They wouldn't think twice about it, you know. I have felt this incredible safety net of love and support and of energy that our particular group of women provides. The movement that we do at the beginning of, you know, our groups, our classes, is also interesting because it does something similar, but it does it on a physical level. You know, being able to move your body in conjunction with somebody else that intensifies, I think, the ability to be able to go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Tzfat was the place that I came to when I was 25, and I was in seminary here for 5 months and discovered spirituality within Judaism. And my husband also lived here for a number of years. I joined this group 5+ years ago when it began. And I would say that so much transformation has happened through the individual sessions for my personal psychological growth, and then also as a facilitator facilitating her. And there's different beautiful things that come up when I'm in the group. So both of them have been so instrumental for me, the group work and the individual work.
Raising sparks is the process of extracting the good and the beautiful and finding the worthy and meaningful in every encounter we have.
So we bring the two hands up side by side now. It's like noticing things, awareness. At this point in time, I'm known mostly as Yehudit Goldfarb. Could add a PhD on the end of that if you want. You can add Eshet Hazon on the end of that if you want, and Moratenu. Those are titles that I have. I come from San Francisco. For me, the spiritual and the physical are intertwined. They're not separate. They've always been one. Still right hand high. And so IFS really supports that unity of being that I always strive for and always try to teach. My Hebrew letter movements are based on how do you make the body a safe place for the soul to inhabit fully. That's how I talk about it.
I'm Linda Leaf Altabef. I moved from the United States. We were living in New York with my family. We moved to Israel in 2009. In my work, I go through these tunnels and bridges and archways are going through that sometimes you're afraid to go to those places because you're not sure what's going to happen. But I learned that if I went to those places, I could really have quite an extraordinary experience. I think for IFS, because I've been doing it for the last 3-4 years now, it helped me to work on the parts of myself from my past to make peace with those elements that sometimes you feel hold you back in your work.
We all have plenty of darkness in us, that goes with the territory. The way we process the darkness can lead to any number of directions. The ideal is to go inside of it and with some guidance and with some insight, and to see the light that's buried inside of that darkness. On an individual level, it means whatever difficulties, whatever you went through in your life, particularly in childhood, to be able to go back and to befriend those parts. Excuse the jargon, but that's what it's about.
In every exile is a spark of self that is waiting to be acknowledged, liberated, and connected to the larger self.
Public school for me was a complete nightmare. And a lot of pain happened through those years. So at one session, with an IFS session, I went back to being that kid in that situation, in that time and place. It really is time travel. There's no way around it. It really is time travel. But you're inside talking to yourself, you the adult, a little bit wiser now than then, talking to this child.
For the first time, I really am enjoying speaking to my mother, that our conversations, instead of being combative, are coming from a more of a healing place. And I think for both of us, we're able to communicate in a much better way.
I'm the daughter of a Holocaust survivor, and he is the only one from his family who survived the Shoah. And he had a cousin who also survived, and after the war, they said we're no longer cousins, we're brother and sister, because there are so few of us from our family. She lives in Haifa. She is just about 90, and I just see her as my dear aunt, and she sees me as another daughter, and it's wonderful for me to have her in my life. So I went and I sat with her the day before Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day. She was both in Auschwitz and in Mauthausen, and at the beginning of the war she was in the Lodz ghetto. And she said to me that she wants to remember everything in her life, not just the good. She wants to remember the bad, the difficult, as well as the good and the beauty. And that makes her a full person. And when she said that to me, as we were watching these documentaries, I immediately thought of IFS and the work we do here. And that's how I live my life too.
Open mine eyes that I may see glimpses of truth thou hast for me.
You feel that shift that can happen in IFS, and that would be Chokmah, just that intuitive sense of a wholeness that's happening, and there's something just changed.
These women that I'm in the group with, they're all my friends. You know, there is such support and love and caring, and that it just enables, I think, every single one of us to flower, to develop and to flower and to explore areas that otherwise might be too frightening.
You're rewriting the script in real time, not just, oh, well, hey, it should be this. No, and like you actually are able to enter into that person at that time. And I think it might be called healing, if nothing else.
IFS is a very spiritual work and very deep work. And I'm glad that they discover it and bring that to their spirituality. And it shows me how it fits with any spiritual tradition. IFS fits.